something that Steve can really comment on. What do you see as the biggest globalist next move in 2015 coming up? War with Russia, opening the borders further, Obama acting as a dictator openly, turning off more of our power plants, economic collapse, currency devaluation. And what is some of the positive news people think is going to come in 2015? Obviously, Steve Quayle has talked a lot about for months that it's not really Ebola, it's an Ebola simulant that is killing people but being used to track the spread of disease and test federal control of local health authorities. Obama came out weeks after Steve had said that and said this is really just a test case to track something more deadly and airborne. All I know is I've had a medical doctor who runs 3 hospitals in Missouri on air by name talk about how he's talked to other doctors and naming the hospitals where they're disappearing people that have Ebola-like symptoms. Then Forbes writer came out and said they were in a meeting with the CDC director, with AP, Reuters, and others before a press conference, and they agreed in a pre-meeting not to bring up the disappearing people. Fox News Sunday, I want to get that clip ready, just because we mentioned this last time with Steve. Fox News Sunday. Investigative journalist was on there and said that she'd called the CDC, and they admitted thousands, or I think she said 1,500 or so. We'll play the clip in a moment, play the exact clip, I'm going from memory, of what looked like Ebola, but that they don't list it. There's a cover-up. And then I've talked to other medical doctors that say, indeed, it's happening. I'm not going to go into a whole Ebola discussion, but we went on air because we had doctors by name telling us and other doctors confirming it. I don't know exactly what's going on, but this is a case example of covering something up. This time last year, my great-uncle had died. My cousin had died, all in East Texas, living near to each other. And then in January, my uncle died of a respiratory illness that they could never figure out what it was. And there were just deaths at all the major hospitals around the country. The doctors told me the worst they'd ever seen. And the feds were basically telling them not to talk about it. That even came out in the news. So we've got this other mystery viral illness killing kids. The point is, government can cover up stories. That's why they hate Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, DrudgeReport.com, WorldNetDaily.com, SteveQuayle.com, any site that will question outside of their narrative or carry foreign news or post a link to a YouTube video. They just don't like the fact that we are unfiltered and give a wide view. People go to Infowars.com all the time and they say, I see pro-government propaganda here, or I see government statements here. Why do you have a video of Obama talking? Because we're just showing you everything. The only agenda is we're trying to figure stuff out too. We don't claim to have all the answers. We have a bias to tell the truth, promote freedom. Some of us are more libertarian, some of us are more conservative. Some of us are classical liberals. Doesn't matter. We have goodwill and don't want to live in a police state, slave state. So I want to talk with Steve Quayle today about some of the big issues he's breaking down. Civil war. I've been harping on that. The war on police, so that they can then twist the police against the public for a war on the public. This is classic divide and conquer. Police versus the people. Cyber attacks on banking, Sino-Soviet axis, and more. Geopolitically, what's happening from all of Steve Quayle's very interesting and informative sources. He joins us. Steve Quayle, thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thank you, Alex. This is a critical point in time. We're about 8 days away from the end of 2014, and I heard as you were reading some of the questions that we're going to be dealing with later on this show. I think the biggest issue right now is that the hardest thing for people to wrap their heads around is that we are under a full communist internal revolution. Now, I say that because, you know, you've talked at length about Saul Alinsky, and you've talked at length about the whole plan to basically incorporate all of the heirs, William Ayers' teachings and his basically, well, let's just call it what it is, his rules for revolution. So now with the situation in New York, I think this is really an important event that's happening, because I think what we're going to see is you're going to see more of these events across the country because you and I have talked, Alex, over the years at length about turning the police against the people against the police, and yet we have this lone, and he was a Muslim shooter who's tracking the cops, evidently knowing about the exercise going on concurrent with the day's events in New York, and executing these two police officers, and then blowing his brains out. That sounds to me like the MK Ultra signature, but we won't go there. The bottom line is the agents provocateurs, whether they're Barack Hussein Obama, whether it's Al Sharpton, whether it's Jesse Jackson, whether it's all the different people that are basically vilifying the cops. Now, years ago when I went on talk radio and you started listening to me, 23 years ago, I said the formula I saw in play for the last days of the Republic would be IVND. Identify, vilify, nullify, destroy. So the idea is to basically turn all cops into federal agents, but prior to that time, in order to get massive civil unrest, there's no greater way than to have high visibility assassinations on both sides and stay in the dark background, if you will, orchestrating all the players. And that's why the globalists don't care in a war who wins, because they control both sides. So what we're seeing now, in my opinion, is the full takedown of the United States, both from within and without. Look at the military. This is critical to talk to. We, you, I, others have covered all of the firings of our military, our military leaders, Navy admirals, anybody with combat experience. And then the stories in the last week, Alex, there were stories coming out. Could our nuclear defense forces even retaliate? Well, my answer to that is probably not. And the reason I say this is before I started into talk radio, I spent most of my time in warning people about nuclear war. Well, obviously, Russia had its seeming defeat, and I said all along, the only thing that happened to that whole situation was the Berlin Wall came down, and all the spies that had to stay on both sides of the wall and sneak into each other's countries now had free access. So what are we seeing right now? We're seeing the total internal revolution, which is part, by the way, of the Marxist plan. We were warned about this by all the Russian defectors. You've had them on in the past. You've quoted from them. I've quoted from them. And now the scene is playing out just like they said it was. And I hear people that saying, well, if we just get enough people to learn, if we just give them enough information, then we can turn the country around. I want to make this clear. It's too late for that. Now, that's my opinion. But what you and I are doing is preparing the people that have ears to hear and eyes to see and really do understand, is we're trying to give them the best information so that they can make the pertinent decisions for their lives, their family lives, and their community lives.
Well, when you see the President of the United States and MSNBC and CNN openly trying to fan race war, openly trying to push, kill the cops, that's so transparent that they're trying to create a major crisis so the feds can then come in as the saviors, as a smokescreen while Obama opens the borders, signs us on to derivatives like Congress just did. Signs us on to the Pacific Partnership, waiving our sovereignty. It's all happening. More is happening right now than happened the last 20 years, Steve, and I only see it accelerating towards a quickening.
Absolutely. Alex, it's no longer linear. There was a time when events, one would follow the other. Now it's like all of the rods going into a nuclear reactor, creating a chain reaction, and it doesn't matter if you're looking to the east, the west, the north, or the south. It's all happening at once. And here's what's going to happen just in the policing. I believe you're going to see selective areas of the country. The troublemakers, the provocateurs, agent provocateurs are going to ratchet up, and I think the thing that's going to happen is if you look at even Chile and some of the South American countries, Argentina and other, when policing breaks down and Marxists start to take the hold, what do you end up with? You end up with death squads. And the problem is the death squads have been mostly on the other side to date. We all saw, and I'll
That's right, that's right. They'll use the destabilization exactly to set up the death squads, and then they'll be used against us. They'll flip them when the Marxists take full control of the government.
Absolutely. We saw the saddest day when Andrew Breitbart was murdered, followed by Tom Clancy was murdered, followed by Chris Kyle, followed by the Navy SEALs.
Well, I don't want to get into it. They sent somebody here, and he got stopped, and then he went back to California and killed a cop. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, they're really pulling the stops out right now.
Absolutely, and I think this is what again most people have to understand is we're at the point where now the overwhelming of the system is simply a Saul Alinsky ploy. Anybody that doesn't know the background on Saul Alinsky, A-L-I-N-S-K-Y.
Break it down. He dedicated his book to Lucifer.
Yes, sir.
Rules for Radicals. Guys, I've got one around the office, but just show a screenshot of the opening page dedicated to Lucifer, the original revolutionary. Stay there, Steve Quayle of SteveQuayle.com. I want to lay out, because I know you're an expert on this, how they plan this. And when you see it, foreign megabanks using a Marxist classic takeover program, just like they finance radical Islam and the Arab Spring to take over, they mean business, folks. And just like they tried to overthrow Egypt to bring in mass slaughter, they want it here. That's why I keep harping and harping and harping and harping that, yeah, sure, the system's got problems. Local system has problems, but it's not the enemy. The globalists causing a civil war are. I'm Alex Jones, Infowars.com. Steve Quayle's our guest. Stay with us.
Managing your business and customers isn't easy, huh? SnapForce customer relationship software may be just what you need. SnapForce CRM is a software solution that helps you manage everything important about your customers, from sales to marketing to service and support. All of your customer information is right there at your fingertips for easy access. It's time to take control of your business in a snap. Get your free trial at snapforce.com. That's SNAPFORCE.com. Snapforce.com.
Digestive health is key to wellness, and Pro-EM1 is the key to digestive health. Pro-EM1 is a daily liquid probiotic that improves food absorption and supports weight loss by removing toxins from your system. Recommended by doctors, Pro-EM1 is 100% natural, organic, non-GMO, wheat, soy, gluten, and dairy-free. Call us today at 888-611-8025 or visit ProEM1.com to save over $25 on your order. That's 888-611-8025 or PROEM1.com.
What good is a Big Berkey water filter?
We get that question a lot here at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. And in a word, the answer is protection. Protection from water main breaks, E. coli contamination, environmental chemical spills, pesticide runoff, chlorine taste and smell, and all forms of fluoride. Plus, Big Berkey water filters are the original gravity water filter system and most trusted on the market for a reason. Tested by multiple independent NSF EPA certified labs, they are the gold standard in water purification. At only 1.7 cents a gallon, a single set of filters can last for 5 to 10 years. That means big savings. Big Berkey, the one that's powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get a Big Berkey today at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. GCN listeners receive 5% off all ceramic filter systems. Visit our website or call 1-877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Hi, folks. Alex Jones here with some important information. I want to tell you about Matt Redhawk and his team of patriots over at My Patriot Supply. Several years ago, Matt was sitting in his two-bedroom apartment, frustrated with the direction this country was headed and the charlatans willing to sell us out for a quick buck. Deciding to take action, a company run by patriots for patriots was born. My Patriot Supply has never taken a loan or accepted outside funding. They now operate 2 distribution facilities and employ over 50 hardworking American men and women. It is rare to find companies who practice what they preach. And that's why I stock my pantry with high-quality storable foods from My Patriot Supply. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today for special offers on emergency food storage, or call their preparedness specialist at 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927. Do business with someone who shares your values. mypatriotsupply.com/Alex.
We've had an amazing year here at Supernatural Silver. We've truly enjoyed the fantastic response from thousands of people as they've tried our extraordinary product, and we're thrilled at the life-changing results people have. Our company email is continually full of happy, satisfied customers who thank us for the help they've received from Supernatural Silver. This holiday season, as you think of gifts to give your loved ones, consider giving Supernatural Silver, a gift that can help provide good health and and wellness. A gift that can change lives and make a real difference. In a world where we are constantly exposed to dangerous health threats, give yourself and your